Okay, so after you watch the YouTube video on simple interest, you should have a good idea what interest is and how it relates to this chapter. Um, the formula for calculating simple interest is pretty easy. So anytime you have questions on interest, I would always suggest you write it down. Interest equals the principal times the rate times the time. Principal is the money that's either put into an account, the rate is shown as a percent, and the time is usually in years. Okay, so keep that in mind. So we're going to use the basic formula to answer those three questions. Number one, Kim deposits $300 into a savings account at a simple interest rate of 5% per year. How much money does she have after 1 year? How much does she have after 5 years? So our principal is $300 times the rate of 5%. You keep in mind, though, 5% needs to be converted into a decimal to use it in the formula, times 1 year. You multiply this out, you get $15. So because it says how much does she have after 1 year, she doesn't just have $15, she has $315. When you add the 300 plus 15. So not much is going to change for the second part of the question. How much does she have after 5 years? You still have a $300 principal times 5% times 5. But since it's 5 years, it does go up significantly, so $75. So now the total after 5 years would be $375. So this is as basic as this formula gets. It's pretty easy. Number 2 and 3, you look at the formula a different way, and you're solving for a different part of the formula. So number 2, a nurse put $22,000 in the bank 15 years ago. She has earned $21,450 in interest, nearly as much as her initial investment. What was the interest rate that the bank was paying her? So you know in this part, for this question, you're finding the interest rate. You have the interest. So our formula, interest equals principal times rate times time. She puts $22,000 in the bank. That's the principal. You know that the time is 15 years. You don't know the rate, the R. You know that the interest she earned is $21,450. So you multiply 22,000 times 15 years, and you get 330,000. Get your R equals 21,450. Just like we solved equations in the past, you divide both sides by 330,000, and you get your R isolated, and the rate is, what comes out in your calculator is 0.065. But when you're solving for the rate, it should be in a percentage, so you need to move the decimal twice, and the rate is 6.5%. So what this means is it took 15 years at 6.5% rate of interest with an initial investment of $22,000 to earn $21,450. So that's crazy, but that's how interest works. Let's try number 3. Mrs. Kane has $20,000 to invest. She wants to earn $10,000 in interest. She is considering a savings and loan bank that is offering her 5.6% interest per year. For how long will she have to leave her money in the bank in order to reach her goal of $10,000? So, still using that formula, I equals P R T. We know that her goal is $10,000. That's the interest she wants to earn. We know that the principal is $20,000. That's the amount she's investing. We know that the rate is 5.6%. When you make that a decimal, divide by 100, it's 0.056. And we're solving for the time. Okay? So $10,000 equals 20,000 times 0.056 is 1,120 T. We divide both sides by 1,120. and you get time is equal to 8.93 years, which is 9 years. Now, I hope I didn't make any mistakes. Hopefully, as you guys are writing down these notes, you're doing the math. Feel free to look this over again. I understand that I talk fast, but this is your lesson, and you do need to understand the concept and how to use the formula. So I'm going to ask you to pause here and take a couple minutes to answer these questions. What is your understanding of simple interest, and is interest seen as a good or bad thing? When you're done with answering those, you're going to do just the 2 practice problems on the next page. So pause. All right, now that you're back, what is your understanding of simple interest? Some key points that should be in here are interest is extra money earned or extra money paid. It's always calculated by a percent of a balance over time. Is it seen as a good or a bad thing? Well, I kind of said that in the beginning. If you are putting money away and earning interest, it's like free money over time. But if you're getting a loan or using a credit card, you have to pay that money back, so it could be a bad thing. So hopefully those answers are somewhat similar that you guys had to my answers. On the back pages, you're going to pause right now. You're going to answer everything but 3 just for time. So pause. When you come back, you should have these 2 problems done. And all you're doing right now is checking your answer. So I'm not going to do any more talking. I'm just going to show you what you should have for an answer on 1 and 2. So hopefully you got the same answers as I did for number 1 and 2. If you're doing pretty well with these questions, the worksheet you're doing at this point should be pretty simple. I don't mind if you work independently, if you work with the person next to you, or as a group, but you are going to complete questions 1 through 5. When you have them done to the best of your abilities, you're going to go on Google Classroom and check those answers. This is not your homework. However, this was your lesson for today. Your homework you could check tonight on Google Classroom. Hope you guys had a good day.